And we have the one and only one part of Shy Friends. I was going to say the whole Shy Friend, but I can't. Sorry.
Hi, my name's Julie. I use she, they pronouns. Online, I go by the name Jubs. I run the project Shy Friend, and that's like my main gig, honestly. Outside of that, I also teach music. I am a live streamer, but honestly, this project eats up most of my time, and I'm very happy for it.
I love this. I am going to ask you about Jebs later because that's an amazing name. I go by the name of T Fannie. I rap. I'm also on the board for Musiccalgary and Femwave. So taking in part with this beautiful festival, SoundOff Summit. We recently did it in Lethbridge, and it was really, really dope and amazing. And I love to learn. So I'm really happy to see these beautiful faces at the panels today because it means you're very serious about your art. I'm here because I'm not a fan of social media. I try my best to do very minimal effort on there. And so that'll be my input into that. We want to know what's actually worth your time, kind of trying to find the right promo channels, building consistency, and just making promotion more sustainable. So I guess I'll start with you, Summer. I have a quick question for you. Um, when every platform demands attention, how do you decide where to show up? Like, do you kind of choose certain platforms to use?
Uh, Definitely. So I would, for us, and like in everything we do, would just sort of pick like three main mediums. And the one isn't necessary. The first one is probably not social media. So we gain our biggest following or encourage people to come by generally in person. So if you are meeting me out in the wilds, I'm certainly telling you about Lilo Music Festival. And many of you in this room have met me before, and that's the first thing I'm yapping about. I'm telling, like, because I find that's like the biggest way to, like, our best way to promote, like, that particular festival that I work with, absolutely for sure. And we are a small grassroots festival. We are like we are like a big music family, we like to say, and we invite you to be part of the village and hang out and come back. Um, Maybe a little bit about Milo. So the festival itself is 100 people, or sorry, the village itself is 100 people. The festival swells the village to 500, and people are invited to like just camp all throughout the town pretty much and take over the streets, and you like literally join the village for the weekend. So it's just we try to be just super authentic in who we are and what we're doing, and I think that's the number one way we're marketing and like cutting out all the noise is really it's in person. The second would be Instagram, and the third would be Facebook. And cutting out the noise and thinking about this panel as well, and like watching what other people do, I would say that over posting is like through the year, I'll see other people do this for festivals specifically, where it's just kind of going out into nowhere, right? Like I'm like, who cares what you're doing yesterday? And it's almost like annoying. Like I think a lot of people find it annoying. You'll notice your following has gone down. And I've learned those lessons because it's definitely happened to me.
Mm.
Because I'm the one that manages all the accounts and stuff. I'm like, I'm posting too much. Um, Unless it's leading up to your event, whether you're putting on a show or whatever, then certainly let people
Yeah.
know, and then we'll probably get into those specifics later about when you're actually, should we talk
Well,
about it
no,
now?
I was gonna say too, it sounds like you're very catered to your audience as well. Like you know that your audience is not really gonna respond to like the over posting and more so like word of mouth because you're building that like sense of community with the festival.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
number one. And even with bands or any performing artists, the number one thing that you're marketing is you. So you getting out there is the number one, and making those connections.
Mm, I love that. And I know that you are not, I wouldn't say like opposite Julie, but like you live stream quite a bit and you are online quite a bit. So the same kind of question for you. Do you find like certain platforms work better for you, or are you just kind of like spread out on all the platforms for now?
I mean, I consider myself to be terminally online. I'm just online at all times. It's just part of who I am and how I grew up. But I find that there are certain platforms that do certain things for artists. My big thing is that if you use a platform, you should probably be posting on that platform if you feel comfortable doing so. It doesn't really matter what that platform is. So if you use Instagram every day, if you're not posting on Instagram, you're kind of missing out on something that you could already know what to do with.
Mm.
If you use YouTube all the time like I do, I mean, you might as well post the same stuff that you post other places, but on there. Like if you use LinkedIn, there's no shame in posting on LinkedIn, or Reddit or whatever.
Shout out LinkedIn.
Finding that niche platform for yourself also helps you build a very specific community that could be more in line with what you do. I mean, I use Twitch all the time, which is a very niche platform. It's a live streaming platform. And the reason why is because I've found that there's a community that likes what I do, likes what the music I make and what I do as a person. And it's been sort of my home base for most of my art and building myself a like brand online. It doesn't mean I don't post anywhere else, because I do, but that's sort of one of my main focuses. Outside of that, I think Instagram is probably the most important one that I've seen for artists. Posting on there, it's kind of like your resume for people who are wanting to book you, people who are wanting to come to your shows, people who are just trying to figure out who you are if they heard your song on the radio. They look you up on Instagram first. So it's really important, at least to me, to really develop a nice Instagram, and then whatever content you post there, using that other places is so helpful. Taking whatever short form videos you make and posting them on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, it gets them all out there with less effort. So I try to focus on Instagram, and then whatever I make for Instagram, I try to post everywhere that I feel right with. And then I also have a niche platform that I focus on.
Which is your Twitch.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is my Twitch.
Okay, that's cool. And I'm like in between both of y'all, because I do a lot of word of mouth for mine, and then I find that my best marketing seems to be performing at shows. My word of mouth people don't always be like, "Hey, I rap," and they're like, "Okay," I get like the big eye roll, sure. But after I perform, I find that that's when I'm able to have like conversations with people. Um, so, I mean, the biggest takeaway I could see is maybe just figuring out who you are and finding the best promotional like channel for yourself, because we're so different, all three of us, when it comes to promotion, which is kind of cool. Um, how can artists tell the difference between a platform that's trendy or like how were you okay, actually for you, how were you able to like know that Twitch was for you? Like why did you decide to put your energy into Twitch and Instagram?
I mean, for Twitch for me, it was right time, right place. I started streaming right as the pandemic hit, and everybody who wanted to come out and see live music and spend their money on tickets for live music uh, didn't have that anymore. So they started actually watching the live streams. So for me, it was right time, right place. I started streaming, and people wanted to see live music, so they came and watched. From there, that community has just sort of become ride or die, and it's been a great place to sort of be a nesting ground for me for that. So for me, it was just, okay, I needed a place to practice my music, and that was the space for me. I don't think if someone tried to do that today and did the exact same thing as what I did, they would have the same results, just because it's a timing thing.
Mm,
It's important to sort of see what is important, not just to you, but to the people around you as well. So if everybody you know uses Instagram daily, I mean, that makes sense to put your effort there. If everybody you know goes on TikTok all the time, if you're just hanging out with, I don't know, like middle schoolers or whatever, if that's the audience that you're wanting to cater to, then that's sort of where you should lean towards.
okay. That totally makes sense. I love that. Um, Summer, what signals like what would show that your effort is actually working versus not working? Like what are the signs for you or signals for your festivals?
I think, well, maybe I'll speak broader to like what I see working for artists and what doesn't. Have like working with a lot of different artists and booking and seeing them and going to a lot of shows myself. Um, I think the number one is, and it's missed all the time. Like every single day I see this where you're promoting whatever you're doing and I don't know where it is, when it is, or how to contact you. There's a lot of artist Instagram accounts that you can't direct message. If you are an artist and you have a private profile, fine, but you should make another one that's a public profile, and then on that definitely have all of your contact information. I can't tell you how many times I'm looking to book a band, and I've heard about them, I've seen them, and then I'm going to their Instagram, there's no phone number or email. I'm going to their website that's super obscure to even find it. YouTube, maybe. I'm not the biggest YouTube user. Like, that's probably reflective of my age, but like, but yeah, like I think just it seems ridiculous that those simple things, but you will even today, Tina, we're talking about it. I'm like, where is this show?
Mm-hmm.
And you really had to go down a deep dive. And if you're trying to get people out, which you are, ideally that's why we're all here, then it's interesting. Like it makes it so easy. Like maybe you just tag it, like geo tag it, or like, and then also the different players, or even the town that you're throwing it in. Like if you're doing a tour, you should have it like earmarked, like on where, when, what, every time. Even though you may think it's redundant, not everybody's seeing every post that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I think those would be my main
I love that.
takeaways of like just the simplest thing and how often it's missed and how often I, who actively do go to a lot of shows, have trouble finding.
Yeah, let's get into it because I was like, I always say rinse, wash, repeat was put on the shampoo bottle for a reason. It's because people needed it. They needed to know that they needed to rinse, wash, and repeat. And same thing like Summer saying, like having something so simple on your Instagram, like links to your shows. Colleen actually showed me because I was doing way too much work for myself and updating like all of my shows in too many different places. I use Bands in Town now, and Bands in Town, I have like a widget that goes on my website. See, you guys are nodding, it goes on my website. And now every single time I add a show, I only have to add it to Bands in Town. And then I can just refresh like all the other spots that it's in.
Yeah.
Having that is so key. Yeah.
It updates on your website if you have the widget. It updates on your Spotify, which is a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
It updates wherever you put that widget. So
Yeah.
get those connected because it's so helpful.
Yeah. Rinse, wash, repeat. Make it super, super easy for people. And also understanding that a lot of people that are like booking, like if you're looking for an artist, Summer, are you usually, like for me, I'm on my desktop and I'm looking through your Instagram and then your like all the other links and stuff. So making sure that your links are working links is very important.
That's too, yeah. Even too when like I see a lot of applications coming in, a lot of things like that, and I would say that again, I would say 80% of the time, even though I'm receiving an application, I'm still not getting the information that I'm looking for. And so there's like top three things is like have your links working, absolutely, your contact information, and then also too, and I think what's a lot of people think that you need a super professional video.
Mm.
Like, so if I've never seen you before, I definitely want to see, and everybody does, and doing what I do, want to see like a video or a live performance of some sort. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be professional. It could be your friends shot it on an iPhone and you just uploaded it to YouTube. That's probably the best way to do it. And if you are sending it out to the masses, I highly recommend that because they want to see you perform. And if it is just you and you don't have a big backing, you have a band normally, but it's generally you that you're selling yourself or like getting the word out. It doesn't really have to include all of your band members either, because a lot of times, like if you're booking in Europe or whatever, and you're going out there for the first time, usually you're going to go alone and you're going to pick up players if you need. So it should be technically a video. And again, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend money really, but just those little things are super helpful and will get you further. And not letting people look for it or search for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like key.
Making it super easy.
Yeah.
Speaking of promotional game, I saw that you just posted your new the theme for the show that you're doing this weekend.
Yep.
Can you talk a bit about these themes that you do? Because I think that promo game is so strong.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this project for about 3 years now. And I found after the first year, when we started actually getting booked, that we would play a lot of shows in the same town, this town, especially during the summer, because that's kind of when all the shows happen here. It got to the point where we would be playing, 4 shows a month, and the first show had a fair few people, the second show had a little less, third show had less, and the fourth show, we had a couple shows where just nobody was there. And it got to the point where, that happens. It's not the end of the world. Please, like, if nobody shows up to one of your shows, that's normal. It's okay. But it got to the point where I was like, if I can do something about this, I want to. For me, I went and saw Chapel Roan like 3 years ago, and she used to do a different theme for every one of her shows. She would cycle between like 4 different themes based on her music. And I was like, I could steal this. So now me and my band have figured out like a lot of themes. I think we have between like 5 and 10 themes that we have thrifted outfits for. And I borrow my siblings' drag clothing to do this because I love drag. And for every show, we tell everybody, hey, this is the theme. So the one that we have coming up on Saturday is we called it Biker Babes themed. So leather and jean and motorcycle garb, all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that the themes actually are accessible, so we don't do anything that involves actually going out and buying a ton of stuff. And we encourage thrifting as much as possible, but we show up like dressed to the nines, as crazy as we can. And if other people come dressed up, it's a really obvious way, especially if you're on a bill with multiple people, to tell who's there for you, who actually is showing up to specifically see you, because sometimes that's hard to tell. So when people show up with the big old leathers or something like that, you can be like, those are my people, and I'm gonna party with them. We also, when we first started doing themes to encourage people, we just give out stickers to anybody who dressed up. It's a cheap way of saying thank you. So if we,
Bribery. I like it.
bribery works. So we'd if anybody came dressed up, if I saw them, I would give them a sticker and say thank you for coming, and it really made them want to come back. Plus, having a different theme for multiple shows that happened in the same region means people have an excuse to come out more than once. My audience is mostly queer, fringe, alternative folks, and we love to dress up. Everybody in this community does. So it's a great way of getting people to come out, like, twice, 3 times a month, because they have a reason other than just the music to be there.
Oh, okay, I love that. You also, I know this isn't like written down, but I have more questions. Where like you have the themes. I went to your release party and it was like clown circus, and even I was like fringe, yay, I'm dressing up. I was so excited. But not just that, your shows are also just different from any other show that I've gone to. Where where did you decide that? Like, is that just because this is who I am and I want to do my shows this way, or is it part of like a promotional sense of like I want to stand out from the crowd, or is it like a mix of both? Like how did you come up with like a whole different concept for a release party?
I mean, for me, it's all about accessibility. I want to make sure that everybody feels welcome to come to a show. Everybody feels like they belong there and that they want to come back. So I try to make things as accessible as possible. I make sure that there's breaks between, performers. I make sure that there's a space that's quiet for people to hang out in, where they don't have to necessarily leave entirely. I want to make sure I also try to live stream shows whenever I'm producing my own shows, which is what I did for the album release party that you saw. So that even if someone is feeling, either they're anxious or they can't make it out or they can't afford to be there, that they can still go. If ticket prices have to be a thing, I also love to do giveaways so that anybody who can't necessarily always afford it can still come. And same with, if you get offered guest list spots at your show and you don't use them all, if you have some people that usually come out to your shows oftentimes that, are really hype and awesome, maybe offer them your guest list spot instead of just offering it to a loved one, so that you can build those connections as well. It's hard when you're not producing your own shows to actually fit all of that accessibility stuff in there. So I don't get to live stream shows very often, but I try to make sure that when I don't live stream them, that I still have, somebody holding up a phone at some point, or I pass out my DS at shows for people to take photos and take videos with, so that they can feel like they're a part of something. It's also a good excuse if you don't know what to do with your hands, or you see someone who looks kind of awkward, if you can hand them something to do, they love that. And it's just a great way to build those connections as well.
I think it's you're creative, authentic, and then also too, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I like that you referenced Chaperone, because that's another thing too. If you're, like to not get burnout. You're like constantly stressing, like what's going to make this different? How am I going to get more people here? You have some really, I love your shows and I enjoy going to them for those reasons. But you don't also yourself have to, if you don't have an original idea, it's okay to pull from others. Like it's probably one of the best ways to do it. If you see a successful campaign like what you've seen, then definitely, do that.
Yeah.
Like it's super handy.
It can be recycled.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
allowed to.
In your own way.
Yeah.
Like these aren't ideas that you need to not do because I'm doing them. Please steal whatever you want. It's all good. It's not
There was
that big
also
of a deal.
pizza, so you can feed the audience.
Oh yeah, I also the show was a really long one. It started at 9 and it ended at like 1 a.m. So right at midnight, I brought in pizza for everybody because I made sure that that was part of the budget for the show. I made sure that I could afford it, and I made sure that there was vegan pizza and regular pizza and all that, just so that I could do that. It's not something I can do for every show, but
No.
when I'm producing my own show, I try to make sure it's really fun like that.
I like that. So you based it off of accessibility.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, always. Yeah, I try to make sure that it's just, I want everybody to feel comfortable. I want it to just be a cool place for people to hang out, even if they're not necessarily super into the local music scene. There's still people who deserve music.
Yeah, I love that. You had mentioned burnout, Summer. I wanted to know, do you have any like systems or habits that help you stay consistent, so that you're not feeling like a constant machine? Because you are one of the people who are like constantly working.
Scheduling, like I would say, scheduling, and using the things that help you do that, like Latergram, or just even like your calendar. I'm really basic. Like I
What's
have a
Latergram?
calendar. It's like just an app that helps you post on your Instagram or, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people use Hootsuite as well.
Hootsuite.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
Whichever platform that you're using, and some of them are really basic, and I'm using the most basic of basic because that's my level. And so that also is good because you don't have to go too heavy into it. You don't have to be a design pro. Like Canva does a lot for you, and I would use that really a lot. Really a lot. That's a terrible English, but but yeah, like this, like those simple things. But scheduling is my biggest one. So even if I'm promoting a show for an artist or like doing something for myself, like festival wise, you know what's happening. So you're like it's 6 weeks ahead. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have to run like 3 posts a week, and so I'm gonna get Canva to basically spit that out and do it for me, or AI if you're good at that. Like you don't. Um, there's an artist I work with. Their name is Bobby Dove. They're from Winnipeg, and for the longest time, they were just slaving over every single thing that they got out onto their social media. Like, and so much so that they're really stressing out about it.
Hi.
And in the end, I was like, you got to start using Canva, plug in this with the AI, built in. And I wouldn't recommend that to everybody. If you want to be more authentic, for sure, do it that way. But they were just really, really stressing out about it. And I'm like, this will do it for you. And it's really not that much different from what you were producing anyway, which they took as a slight, but we talked it through. And now they do it all the time, and it's just taken a weight off their shoulders, so then they can start promoting the tour and then them authentically themselves on whatever they're doing. So they'll do a lot of videos for Instagram and letting you know about their show just in their stories or whatever, and that being a way better use of time than hours and hours on the computer figuring it out. That's one specific artist, but like they can probably lend that story to many, like you were saying, that if you're doing a lot of
Yeah, I hate it.
yeah. Use the tools that are available for sure.
Okay. I'm learning. What about you? Do you have any like specific habits or that helps with your not to burn out?
Yeah, I gotta say this right away. The burnout, it's okay. It's okay. It happens. It's one thing to be really, really in check with yourself, feeling what the signs are for you that you feel burnt out. For me, I start over caffeinating when I'm about to get burnt out. I stop sleeping as well, stuff like that. And that's my telltale sign that, oh, something's about to happen and I should probably figure out how to deal with it. The big thing is if you do get burnt out, it's okay. If you stop posting, nothing's gonna die, okay? It's gonna be okay. All that's gonna happen is if someone's regularly scrolling and they see you, they might just not see you for a bit. So if you have to take time off, it's not going to kill your brand. It's not going to kill your art. It just means that you're not going to be a part of people's daily scroll for a little bit. That's okay. When you come back, those people will still see you again, okay? So don't be afraid to take a break. It's actually very important. If you're really, really worried about maintaining being in people's daily, lives and getting that attention through a break and you feel like you need a break, you can make content in advance. I try to make sure that I have between like 3 and 5 posts that I can just post whenever if I need something and I'm worried, So for myself, in order to make sure that I can keep up with my social media, because I'm kind of aggressive with it, I use my merch sales from shows to hire photographers and videographers, usually just friends of mine, to photograph my shows and video my shows so that I have content to post in the future. Especially since we do themes and they recur, the next time that I do those themes, I go back and I figure out, oh, there's some photos from that last theme, and I can use those again. Even if something goes wrong or anything like that, I still have a bunch of content to use.
Hmm.
Make sure you tag people, of course, when you're doing stuff like that. If you have like a backlog of content that you can post, then you don't have to worry about if you're not feeling well for a week or you're just kind of not into it. You can still post something, right? The other thing is, if you're trying to get into short form content, it does not have to be high quality. It can be 10-second videos of you just sitting there writing something on your book with like a caption at the top. See what other people do and steal from them. It's okay, If you feel like you're getting too close to what other people are doing, credit them. It's okay. It's normal. Um, Posting and social media is a tiring game, and it's going to be tiring. It's just how things are. So please, like, take care of yourself, post in advance, and don't be afraid to take breaks, please. It's so important, even if you are trying to keep up with something. And then, if you have something big coming up, make a bunch of posts in one night. I usually, at the end of my day, I spend like 30 to 45 minutes making content. I put it in my drafts folder on my Instagram, on my TikTok, on my YouTube.
Your face.
It was like for you.
I know it's a lot, but it's part of.
Our face was the same. Like, oh my God, 40 minutes a day.
You listen, I'm laying in bed, I'm trying to go to sleep, and I'm too anxious to sleep. I'm gonna just put something together so I can have some peace of mind to go to bed. It's not that serious for me. I keep everything organized in folders as well, which is huge. You put them in your drafts folder, and then when you're awake the next day or set an alarm for when you want to post it, you can just post it that way as well. If you want to use something like Hootsuite or you said Latergram or whatever, use that too, but it can be as accessible as just the drafts folder.
I do love that. I find that my biggest challenge is going back to find stuff to repost. Like I don't save it in like folders and stuff. Instead, I'm kind of more so relying on like Instagram. Are you gonna give me a memory and or something? Or I like go back in the stories. And so I guess saving the stuff in folders would help exponentially. Good to know.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I actually wanted to add, I found that when I am cruising Instagram, if somebody has a similar like sound to me and they got into a publication, I note that down. Or I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, like I just did this with Arlo. Arlo Mavic is a rapper in Edmonton. And he was on this really cool podcast. And I was like, yo, this interviewer, like, he went really in depth. Like, can you make this introduction? And so he was able to introduce me to this interview guy, and now I get this interview with this. Now I get to go be on this podcast. But I find that like the easiest thing is when you're cruising Instagram, if you're just like hanging out, whatever, if you do see other artists and they have something similar to you, write down those publications, email them, and just keep emailing them. Eventually, you'll get through.
I would say too, not everybody will agree with me on this perhaps, but I wouldn't be so worried about perfection either. And I think that that is a lot of what burnout is as well. So you're just so worried about that perfect picture, that perfect video, or the perfect post. I think that there's something to be said about the imperfect, not everyone will agree. It depends on what you're actually like marketing yourself as. But I actually kind of like it, you know what I mean? Like maybe those typos are on purpose, I don't know. Like,
I did see a
right?
magazine that had like typos on purpose, and I was like, I kind of mess with that. That's
Right.
kind of cool.
Or right, you're just like looking like shit and posting anyway, like you don't have to look perfect. It doesn't happen every day. Those sorts of things I think would maybe like if you're really, really stressing about your career and getting things going that but again, that's my personal opinion. Not everyone would run that way, but
Mhm.
No, I think that's so important, especially for short form content. If you're filming videos, they're never going to be perfect. The less effort you put into them, especially on TikTok, the better they perform. So keep in mind that if it's a super fancy, high quality video, sometimes those are the ones that die the quickest. So if you're looking for something to actually keep going,
Mhm.
oftentimes people cling on to the imperfections, and that's what they comment about. As long as you got thick skin, it's all good.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you're scrolling anyways, if you're a doom scroller like me, if you have a tab, like what is it called, like a bookmarks folder in, say, Instagram, you can like
Mhm.
save things. I have a folder for specifically like marketing inspiration. So if I see somebody else post something that I'm like, I like that, I want to comment on that. I see how that's working. I just throw it in that so that when I'm like, I need an idea, I have like 50 to look through
I like
instead.
that. I have an apply one that I've never applied for anything that I
I
saved,
use
but I'm one step closer.
Yeah, I use my notes app and I put like a apply for, and then I have like a tick for each one that I just put their handle or
Yeah,
whatever.
right? We
Yeah.
can do this.
Mhm.
I will take your advice, I promise. I love this. Summer, do you have any like non-negotiable like strict standards when it comes to promo marketing that you're like never in my life, I will never.
oh, that's a tough one. Hmm.
Non-negotiables.
Non-negotiable. I mean, we're a family market, right? So, and like I want to encourage youth
Mm,
and families to participate in most of the things that I do professionally. So probably would cut out, like a PG, quite a few things like, that I'm doing, or like if I'm posting different musician stuff, I'm not throwing down like the F in blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'll try and like, there'll be a little bit, but just for my market. But then again, that also performs for other people. So, that's just what, like for me personally, like it might change for you, right? For,
yeah.
or
I
you,
cuss a
right?
little,
But,
yeah.
I cuss a lot.
mhm. And do you post that in your,
You know what? I didn't think about it until last week because I am now part of like the Unity program, which is a youth program. And I've been posting and trying to promote that and then realizing that like I'm also posting other stuff in the same stories. And I was like, this doesn't really match. Like if I'm trying to get youth to come to my program, but I'm like cussing, or if like a parent sees it, they're like, I think I want my kid here. And then like the next post is me being like, F bomb might not be the best marketing strategy to get kids to come to my program.
I mean, I also think that it's fair for people to realize, and kids these days, at least that I've talked to, realize that there's a separation between art and real life, right?
It is hip
So
hop after all.
is hip hop, and like with my music, there's swears in some of the songs, and the kids aren't going and screaming these cuss words because they heard me do it once. Kids are a little smarter than that, and it's not 6-year-olds who are going through Instagram anyways.
Very true.
So for me, it's like I do have more mature language in a lot of the things that I do, and more mature subject matter sometimes too. I don't cater it towards kids, but if they come across it, they're not like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I'm going to repeat this. I've
Mm.
never had that issue personally.
Okay, I like. Do you have any non-negotiables that you wouldn't do on social media?
For me, I don't use AI. It's just a,
Mm.
a, a thing for me. I'd rather put that effort in myself. I know for some people it's an exhaustion and a burnout thing and stuff like that, and I have no problem with that for other people. But for me, I don't use it because I think learning the skill that I'm trying to figure out with AI, figuring out a cool poster or something like that, I think
Mhm.
it's more valuable to just do it myself or hire an artist to do it for me. But that's something that I feel very fortunate to be able to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Hard non-negotiable. No AI. And I totally get that. There's a very hard line in the sand when it comes to AI.
It's
There's
polarizing.
like, yeah, it's like it's left or right. There's no
I'm
I
the
find that
complete
there's like
opposite, in a way, like I'm like, use it if you feel like you need to, but I use it all the time, right? It's like,
actually I'm in the middle. I will say I'm in the middle.
not necessarily for writing or creating, but the scheduling and the planning and that sort of
That part,
stuff, right?
yeah.
Or like giving me ideas that I didn't think about. So I'm throwing an event in Calgary and I don't know all of the people I should be inviting. Like who should we invite to this?
Mhm.
I'm sure there's people we missed and sorry whoever they are, but those sort of things I would definitely use AI
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
right? It's just kind of like it's maybe not necessarily on the creative part, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
There's,
don't like it
like
when
the
it comes to
searching,
music,
like
but as a tool, as a tool, and I've seen people like I do know an artist who's literally been practicing and learning how to do like AI art for the last like 5 years. And now I see him as farther ahead than any other like AI artist, if that's like a thing. So like I can see how it could be a tool, but also like yeah, like the grit of doing it yourself is yeah, it's a battle because I'm sure that like with most people here, like as an artist, the AI artist, there's thousands of AI music flooding the streaming platforms every day. So it's a battle. It's a whole battle. That could be a whole different
Yeah.
yeah, that could be a whole different one. Anyways, we were talking about like scheduling apps and whatnot. Um, you use Canva, Summer, for like for scheduling like IG and whatnot. And you said you use mostly drafts. Are there any other like apps that you guys use to help? Um,
for again for our promotional game, I'm like even less social media. Like I would also like revert back to the olden days when we used mailing lists, and those are still super helpful. Even for you, like if you are putting on a show, you're performing yourself, you're a videographer or artist or of any way, like start creating that mailing list. If you don't already have one, maybe get your friends to share some. I've definitely collected that way. Um, this is kind of off topic, I think, from what you asked me,
no, it's okay. I have a
what
follow up
like
question.
we're sort of more old school in that way in getting the word out. And then with that too, I would say that, sort of saying about like finding out who to invite and this and that, that comes from the mailing list, but also in person. And then for you and getting your word out, I would say, like, I might not have, I'm learning about a new artist or something going on, every single day. And I find it super helpful when people will message me, like through the festival or just me personally or whatever. And I'll either recommend things to people because I am out on the scene quite a bit. I'm like, oh, hey, did you hear T Fannie? You like hip hop? She's playing at the Jamaican Relief like last weekend, for example. And then I sent a bunch of people down there because they were like, oh, wow. Um, like, so again, that word of mouth, even I think, well, I ran into you, you told me, and then I sent it to people, that sort of thing. It's almost, it's like that mailing list a little bit, but on a personal level. And then also as a promotional, your own promotional game, definitely invite the people that you want to play for, or the venues you want to play at to your shows, even if it's somewhere else and not there. Because and don't take offense if they don't go, right? Because they might not be able to go that time, but maybe 6 months down the road it would work out.
So you're saying, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you use Instagram like channels, like the channels you can subscribe to that are like
I don't, but it might just be a user error. I'm not that good at it.
Do you use channels?
I haven't started. I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's a new thing that I don't know. I use group chat DMs pretty often. I have one that's where I sort of I have like an insiders club that's just like a DM group. But if you're cool with me talking about apps, if you guys want to know any, the big one that I use instead of Canva, I use Adobe Express. It's a app that you have on your phone, but it's also a computer. Like you can do it on your computer, and you can switch between them. It works the same as Canva, basically. It's just something that I prefer.
Hmm.
That, and then if you're making videos, CapCut is huge. Use CapCut. It's even good for like YouTube videos, like horizontal stuff too. They have great stuff for that. They have awesome templates, and there's also user-generated templates. Don't be afraid to use the Instagram built-in editing, and same with TikTok. Editing in-app is also totally legal and very helpful in times. Use whatever works. It's not that serious, but that's what I use to make most of my content and edit whatever I need to.
Okay. And then the follow up question for you, Summer, you had said like mailing lists. For how often would you mail out? Like, because you did mention before you don't like to like
leading
promote. Yeah.
like here, and then I'll refer to the scheduling too. So we'll think that we're having a big event, whether it's a show or a festival, doesn't matter. Probably like 3 or 4 times leading up. The initial announcement, the pre-sale, like all the things that you normally see, right? The discount code, and then the final. It's happening! Quick, get your tickets. We're almost sold out. You may see that it may or may not be true, but those are the 4 like standard, practice,
So
and
you
then
lie on
however
those
you want it, and we do sell that way, and artists do sell tickets that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So you lie in those too. I lie in my applications.
it's not
By the way.
lying, it's
Yeah.
offering deals, but like we really want you to participate. We really want you to go. If you're an artist, you really want people to come. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. I did see something. I had promoted. I was doing a show the other day, and they said there's only 20 tickets left. And then when I got to the venue, I realized like there could probably only fit like 25 people. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Creating FOMO is not a bad idea.
It's not. And when I say I lie on my applications, like I applied for Winnipeg Fringe, and I was like, hey, I'm already going to be on the road in your area if you'd like to book me, kind of thing. And that's kind of how I built my little like tour, because I was like, I'll already be there, but I wasn't. It works.
It does.
It does work. Yeah, you as somebody who books
It does.
artists at festivals, like look for the little small, like if you're a touring artist coming from elsewhere, doing something like the Lilo Fest would be nice because you're going outside of Calgary, getting another nice little new fan base over there, and now you can like build a tour, and you're like, hey, I'm on tour across Canada. Yeah.
If you, I'd say for the bigger festivals that doesn't, like some of them won't like it. But if you're under, say, like probably 5,000, if the festival's under about a 5,000 person attendance, then that does work because that like, let's face it, you're not getting like a $10,000 payday, like for playing your show at a less than 5,000 person festival. It's like, yeah, not no one in this room, I doubt, but it does help because then it also makes it beneficial for you. So you are playing this weekend to weekend. Maybe you can fill in a few like weekday shows when you're doing it, but and then kind of like maybe it's like a small Western tour, like you start in Winnipeg and then float through to Vancouver. There's like some really nice little routes there. Um, and I would be more, or people are more likely to book there, like because for you, you're going to take a smaller dollar number because you are already doing it, and we're all trying to make things work. I'm not trying to say take a low amount of money or anything like that, but more like you are touring, you are promoting yourself, you're trying to make it work, and those it helps. Like it'll get you from place to place and tour to tour, and you build your fan base and everything else. Whereas me just bringing you, like if you're from Ontario, I can't afford it. Not for my particular festival. I can't afford to fly 5 band members and pay them $1,500 to $3,000. But if you're already on tour, could definitely probably afford the $1,500 for your set, which is handy, right?
Yeah. Book one thing, you get one
Yeah.
thing booked, and then book a bunch of stuff around it. Yeah, like side door. It's great. Yeah, I love it. Okay. I wanted to also know, how do you know, or sorry, actually, what's like the minimal effort that you would say you could put in to your marketing? I know the word of mouth, but like, if you were to stick with a social media, what would be your minimal effort? And I'll want to do the same question to you too after.
Do you want to go first? I gotta think.
Yeah, do you want to go
Sure.
first? Okay.
It depends what you're wanting to get out of it. If you're just wanting to stay inside of people's attention, you're not trying to, do a show or anything like that. You're just a regular artist trying to do your winter chill out thing. You don't have to post often. I mean, once a month, if that's as much effort as you're willing to put in, then do it. I mean, I think being consistent is the most important thing. So, however that feels for you. If that's once a month, do it. If it's 3 times a week, that's great. It's however many times you post is however many times you're going to come across other people's feeds. So, if you're wanting people to pay attention to you lots, then you need to post lots. But if you're just trying to, get things figured out, just get settled, if you're just trying to build that initial sort of backlog of content and stuff, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to put in a ton of effort. It just has to be a consistent effort that you do, you know. That's how I feel about it. If you're wanting to keep in people's attention and keep growing on Instagram, what I've seen be the like magic number is like 3 posts a week. And on TikTok, oh my God, it's like 3 times a day if you're wanting to grow. But you can't guarantee all of those are gonna actually, bring you a ton of numbers or whatever. That being said, that's not necessarily very achievable for many people. So don't force yourself to do that and get burnt out 2 weeks in or something like that. Do the schedule that works for you. Just keep it consistent.
Okay. Are there sorry, did you want
The most minimal effort that I mean, where I am, we're rural, so we're a town of 100 people, an hour southeast of here. The most minimal effort, but it's actually super effective, is a bright sign, which sounds really cheesy, right? And it's
Posters.
like Joe Vickers, July 12th. Sorry, you're in the room, so I'm like, you know what I mean? At the Agriplex, that would be something that I would have in my community, and it would actually work really well, to be honest.
Posters work. Posters
Yeah.
There's
work
a lot
really
of,
well.
posters and bright times?
yeah, and and we're thinking about your market too. In the city, for sure, it's harder to like poster and this and that. But in rural areas, and if you're touring locally, things like that are worth considering. For sure.
Okay.
This-
Um,
Yeah, right.
I have a random question for you now, and then I guess maybe we can like open up if y'all have some questions too. Um, are there any apps or platforms or anything like that that maybe you thought was gonna pop off and like didn't? I know, whoever wants to go first.
I always think everyone's gonna be amazing. I'm like, oh, this Instagram post is just gonna be so good, and like and like 5 likes. So and it's no rhyme. There's rhyme no reason to it in my mind. A lot of the time, you probably can speak better to this than I can, but don't get disappointed. Keep going. And that's kind of my take on that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experimental and new social medias to worry about and to fret about and see if you can make a market in. From my experience, I started streaming on Twitch, but 6 months into the pandemic, Reddit started opening up live streams.
Reddit.
Yeah. It was weird.
Interesting.
It was more like a TV station than anything else, and whoever got the most like algorithmically had the most attention, they'd put on the front page. So there was a group of us who would basically be on the front page. We'd have a schedule for who was on the front page of Reddit. So I would have between, you know, 20,000 and 300,000 people watching me just playing tunes on Reddit. Now, don't get me wrong, Reddit people are scary. They're very mean people sometimes. So you have to have a thick skin to do it. But I thought it was a great opportunity. However, it was a new thing. And I knew it was a new thing. So I was immediately, anybody who was coming in there, I was pushing them towards a platform that I trusted. I was saying, hey, go follow me on Twitch, go follow me on Instagram, because I wasn't sure if it was going to last. And like 9 months into it existing, they said they're shutting it down. So with those new platforms, there might be a really great place to get more eyes on you, get more attention, but you shouldn't depend on those new platforms to be there for forever. It's like Vine, people were on it. I'm sorry, I'm old.
Fine.
But the people who depended on that platform to be there forever were the ones who suffered the most. The people who said, hey, go check me out on YouTube, go check me out on Instagram, were the ones that could last a little bit longer. So don't be afraid to try the new markets. Just see if you can funnel them into something more dependable if you're able to. It's kind of the way to use them.
Great advice. Amazing advice. Are there any like questions that anybody would want to ask?